Hello there, this is Elena in my channel Enough. We have lots of news today, but I'm just trying to make additional part to my video, which I'm editing. My video I published recently, my last published video, which right now I took it down for revision. This is how it was originally look like. Russia's attack on Poland is an attack on NATO. What's next? I want to revise it because things are happening in time, and with time we get more information, and some information gets confirmed, some is not. But my point is that at the time when I was publishing the video, there was certain amount of information was available to me. And as I say, I'm telling you the truth how it is. And depends on information I have in certain time, like everybody else. Situation can change and new facts come out and so on, so situation change. I was pointed out on Quora that the word attack means deliberate attack and so on. And since it's not proven that it was Russia's attack or deliberate attack, I changed the title of the video as Russia's attack on Ukraine, missiles hit Poland. That would be more accurate title to the video. And I am not taking my information from some obscure news, two women talking on the bench about something, and I decided it's a news and decided to publish it. No, it's not. So where did they get the original information that it was Russian missiles? Minister of Foreign Affairs of Poland said, this article, for instance, from 16th of November by Alexander Topchi, in Minister of Foreign Affairs of Poland, it says, confirmed that on the territory on Poland fell a cruise missile of Russian, produced in Russia. This is first official confirmation of Polish authorities about that missile which fell on Tuesday on the Polish territory came from Russia. So there was statements from Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Poland talking about that. Also, Chief of Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Poland, Zbigniew Rau, at the time called Russian ambassador, summons the Russian ambassador and confirms that a Russian-made missile has landed. The Chief of Polish Diplomacy, as I said, Zbigniew Rau, summoned Russian ambassador in Warsaw, Sergei Andreev, to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs with a demand to immediately provide detailed explanations regarding the Russian-made missiles that hit Polish territory. This is Russian ambassador of Russian Federation to Poland, Sergei Andreev. And let's see what actually happened and why situation has changed. Actually, the President of Poland, Andrzej Duda, also confirmed it at the time. That is why, when I made my video, that's why I said that was Russian missile hit Poland. And if that's the case, it's an attack on Poland and attack on NATO. Now we have more information, and again, even in my video, which the biggest part of that video you will still see today, because I stand by many things I said back then. And you will see it in the end of this video, so if you watched it already, I'll tell you when to stop watching, because you already seen that part. It would be after I'm done talking about this. So even Mr. Duda was sure that it was Russian missile at the time. Yet he said that investigation is still going, and so I did say the same thing. So it was his opinion at the moment, and he said, yeah, we're not sure, and investigation is still going. There is no confirmation that it definitely was a Russian rocket. Nothing like that, he said. So this was the information I had at the time. And now, what actually happened? What actually happened? On November 15th, 2022, it was massive shelling of the entire territory of Ukraine, which you will see later in my video. And its critical infrastructure by the armed forces of the Russian Federation. I agree on that. And it was observed for many hours. At 3:40 p.m., a Russian-made missile fell on the village of Przevodov in Poland. And as a result, 2 citizens of Poland were killed. This is Russian channel of popular politics made by Russian oppositional leader Navalny. And we're gonna talk about this. We'll show what happened.
15 ноября в 15:40 по Варшаве на территории польского села Пшеводов упали 2 ракеты. По информации местного радио, ракеты попали в сушилки для зерна. Погибло 2 человека.
That's reporting Katerina Anisimova that 2 missiles fell on the territory of Poland and they hit the granary where they drying grain, and that is how it was look like.
Главная интрига – кто выпустил эти ракеты и как отреагирует Польша и страны НАТО.
So who is shot those rockets and how the Poland and NATO will react? That was the information.
Которая была выпущена украинским ПВО. Это логично. Россия вчера обстреливала Львовскую область. Косвенную версию подтвердил президент США Джо Байден. Он прокомментировал траекторию падения ракеты. Если судить по ней,
Even Mr. Biden later said that maybe, who knows, maybe it was a shot on, because Russia was shelling all Ukraine and Ukraine was defending itself, it could have been a missile which was shot by Ukrainians trying to intercept Russian missile and somehow it fell on Polish territory. But again, investigation is still going. Nobody knows for sure what happened. So far, there are ideas that it seems like there is information that it was Russian-made S-300, something like that, missile. It sounds like that maybe during shelling of Ukraine, Ukrainians trying to intercept the Russian missile, and it didn't happen. And instead of blowing up in the air, kind of self-destruct, the missiles fell in Poland. But again, as I'm saying, investigation is still going and nobody knows for sure yet, and it's not confirmed by anybody. But this is the Polish town when it happened.
Выпускали детей из дома весь вечер, а сегодня не открылась местная школа.
Local school wasn't opened today because of that shooting, and people didn't send the children to school.
Она находится всего в 300 метрах от места падения ракет.
It looks like the school is about 300 meters from the place where the missile fell.
Не, но то был такой...
Нет, я не думала, что это ракета. Это
This is a local lady, Malgorzata. She's saying she didn't think it was a rocket.
был взрыв, сравнимый с ударом молнии. Дом
It was seemed like it was blew up, almost like a strike of the lightning.
дрожал, как в грозу после
Our house was shaking like during thunderstorm.
удара молнии. А то, что мне было страшно, я даже не выскочила из дома проверить, все ли в порядке во дворе.
I was so afraid I didn't even run out of the house to check out if everything okay in the yard. So this is the reaction of Polish local people, and this time I first time in a long time agree with German Chancellor Scholz about that even if it was Ukrainian missile who was trying to intercept Russian and so on, Russia is guilty. Putin was the one who was shelling Ukraine and committing the war crimes, basically, in my opinion and in the opinion of many international, in the eyes of international law. Scholz didn't say that, but he's saying that it is Russian fault. And the same thing saying Polish President Mr. Duda. He said that I'll provide you his, this is original article he was saying about that. This is his words, which I translated for you. Ukraine defended itself, which is obvious and understandable. Also launching missiles, the task of which was to shoot down Russian missiles. In connection with the above, we were dealing with a very serious clash caused by the Russian side, as well as the conflict in general. In fact, therefore, on yesterday's clash, the Russian side is definitely to blame, Duda said. And I agree on that. And also, this is what happened today, again, 267th day of the war. This is again Popular Politics channel and the map of Ukraine.
Они продолжаются вдоль линии фронта всей, в общем-то. Утром Украина вновь была атакована крылатыми ракетами.
In the morning, Ukraine again was attacked by cruise missiles from Russia.
И дронами камикадзе.
And the drones, kamikaze drones.
Часть ракет была сбита украинскими ПВО.
Part of those missiles were knocked down by Ukrainian anti-missiles defense.
Попадание зафиксировано на заводе Южмаш в Днепре.
The plant Yuzhmash in Dnipro was shot at.
И по газодобывающим предприятиям на востоке Украины.
And several plants which producing, making gas in the east of Ukraine.
В Днепре пострадали 14 человек.
In Dnipro city here, 14 people were wounded.
На востоке.
So, this was today. This information, it was a month ago. At the time, again, lots of Russian cruise missiles attacked Ukraine. At the time of 10th of October, these many cities of Ukraine, peaceful cities, civilian cities, were hit by Russian missiles as a revenge for destruction of Crimean Bridge, which at the time Ukraine didn't claim responsibility for. So this is how many civilian cities was hit by Russian missiles at the time. And this map showing, it was from pro-Russian channels, published this map, which saying that Russia hit energetic infrastructure of Ukraine, about 13 places of producing electricity in different places, in different cities, was hit by Russian missiles, and Russia admits that. More than that, at the time President Putin, first time admitted to the war crimes he committed.
Таким образом, киевский режим своими действиями фактически поставил себя на одну доску с международными террористическими формированиями.
He is saying, he implying it's attack on Crimean Bridge done by Ukrainians, and he said he called it Kiev regime, not the legal government of the independent country of Ukraine. Putin called it Kiev's regime. By doing so destroying a bridge which was supplying Kherson and supplying weapons to the war Russia unleashed on Ukraine, Putin considered it a terrorist attack. Besides, Crimean Bridge is in Crimea, and Crimea is a territory of Ukraine, which Putin doesn't agree. So he called Ukrainians terrorists in this video.
Самыми одиозными группировками. Оставлять без ответа преступления подобного рода уже просто невозможно.
He comparing Ukrainian government with terrorist groups. And he said, we can't live without response this kind of crimes. So Ukraine defended itself. It's a crime, apparently, in Putin's eyes. And he decided revenge is a good idea. So by doing so, Putin committing a crime and admitting to it. These are energy infrastructure of Ukraine, supplying energy to the cities of Ukraine. That is why after that hit on 10th of October and after the hit of 15th of November, when the missiles fell in Poland. My friends in Kiev and many other cities in Ukraine were sitting without electricity, without heat. Winter is coming. Ukraine isn't Africa. Ukraine isn't Florida. Ukraine isn't California. Ukraine is a cold country. And now, my friends, sitting there without heat, without electricity, without water. Yes, Ukrainians fixed it in many places and they get electricity back in October 10th, and some of them later, and now they continuing provide electricity, and many people get the electricity and heat and water back, and many didn't. And the more Russia attacks and sending cruise missiles into Ukraine and attacking civilians, lots of people will suffer. That is why I made my video, and I stand by it. Russia is a terrorist state, Putin is guilty, and even if he deliberately didn't send those missiles into Poland, it's gonna happen, and it will happen again, because he's trying to attack Ukraine and bombing their civilians and bombing the infrastructure, because it's a terrorist state and they're doing a war of terror. They can't win on the battlefield and they're doing a war of terror. That is why I recommend to watch the end of my video, and if you watched it already, you don't have to, because it would be the same as before. I just fixed it a little bit because I trying to get rid of their words saying that it was Russian deliberate, no, not deliberate, but Russian attack on Poland. It was Russian attack on Ukraine. And Poland, 2 people in Poland died because of the 2 missiles fell in there. These are the facts in this time. The investigation will show who is actually guilty. We will wait and see about that. As to the targets I provided in Russia, like Putin's palace, well, it's for the future. I hope it wouldn't come to that, but this is where it hurts Putin. But keep in mind that Russians doesn't know, nobody does, where Putin actually lives. He doesn't live in his palace. He visited it sometimes, which nobody knows when. That is why I thought it's a good target anyways. Thanks. A couple words about me first. I'm a Russian citizen and Canadian citizen who lived in Canada for over 18 years. Why my opinion is somewhat more valuable than some? Because I have personal experience with several different countries, with Russia, with USSR, and even with, I met some KGB agents in the past. So I know these people more than many of you who never met any of them and never been in Russia or USSR. And also, I know Russian very well, and I have lots of information which I collected for over 9 years, since the moment in 2014 when Putin attacked Ukraine. Before the full-scale invasion, for many of you the war started in February 24th of this year. It's not. It started in 2014, with Putin invasion in Ukraine and taking over Crimea, which I explain on my channel. I created the whole playlists about war in Ukraine and what is important to know about war in Ukraine. Basically, important to know that it was Putin's attack from the very beginning. It was unprovoked by anyone, by NATO, by Ukraine. It was Putin's personal wish and his imperial ambition. There is nothing else to it. Before that, nobody was bombed and killed, neither in Ukraine, nor in Poland, nor in anywhere else. So, right today, in Poland, on the border with Ukraine, some missile, which actually Russians, as a revenge for their own stupidity, attacking Ukraine and started that war in the first place, and now leaving Kherson, the big major city, the only capital of the region which Russia wants to annex from Ukraine, was left by Russian army. And as always, Russia started to hit civilians and shoot bunch of rockets and missiles into Ukrainian territory, which we'll talk a little bit later. But in Poland, right in here, this is an article of USA Today. About approximately 3.8 miles from the border, Polish village of, if I pronounce it right, Przewodów, 2 people died as a result of that attack. I agree with the article of USA Today and some other places which they saying, oh, we need to de-escalate, we need to think carefully, we need to be careful not to escalate. This is wrong. And it's wrong because many foreign people never met KGB in their life. They don't know what Putin is like. I haven't met Putin personally, but I had lots of witnesses on a popular politics channel made by Russian oppositional leader Navalny, for example, and some other people who knows what Putin look like and how to deal with him. It's like Abbas Galyamov, the former speechwriter for Putin, or Gennady Gudkov, a former FSB officer, and so on, which is confirmed my personal experience of meeting with KGB people. And Putin exactly. Putin is a bully. Nothing more. He isn't a politician. He isn't thinking about political gains. He doesn't think about territorial gains. He doesn't think like any normal politician who, in a Western country, is supposed to report to the people who elected him and supposed to think about what people would think about it, about him and his actions. Putin doesn't have to. And every time when Putin and every bully get the response they deserve, when somebody stand up against them and basically punch them in the nose, they fold. They fold and look like a whipped dog. That is why, in my opinion, escalation is the only response to that type of stuff. And I'll tell you exactly what targets to hit and how to go about it. About Poland. Poland is a NATO country, and they did smart thing because joining NATO. It was because they was afraid of Russia, and they were right. Right now, 2 people dead. Yeah, some articles saying, well, we need to investigate, was it a deliberate attack, or maybe that was an accident. For those 2 people who died in Poland, and another 2 people who died in Belgorod region today, in Russia, and a lot of people who died in Ukraine for those over 8 months of the war. And I was talking today with my friends, checking out other life in Ukraine, in Kiev, for instance. A couple people killed there, and the shelling was real close to the one of my friends live. She is a scientist, biologist, and a writer. Russian-speaking Ukrainian and Ukrainian-speaking Ukrainian. She knows both languages. She could have been killed. Do you really think that for those people would matter why they get killed? Because of the accident or because of deliberate action? Will it bring them back? I don't think so. Will it make comfort to their families? I don't think so. This is a deliberate action of Russia by starting a war in Ukraine and by shooting. And this is an attack which must be punished. This is what was alarmed, what territories of Ukraine was alarmed because they were shot at. And that was Lviv, which is nearby Poland and so on. Basically all Ukraine. They deliberately shooting civilian targets. They deliberately doing that. At the same time in Russia and Belgorod region, 2 people died and 3 wounded. All of it done by Putin and by his will. What happened when the dog is humping your leg? He trying to establish his dominance on you. That's what Putin does. He has to be taught a lesson. He has to be thrown away and whacked so hard that he knows never do it again. Every time Western countries thinking about pleasing him or not provoking him or trying to be nice, trying to not escalate, the dog gonna hump you again and again and again. Putin clearly sending a message, and Lavrov also, that they don't give a damn about what Western countries think. They already telling lies to Russian people that they already fight in NATO, that Ukraine is a proxy, it's a proxy war. They denying Ukrainian people their right to freedom. I am talking to Ukrainian people. I have readers and writers I know from Ukraine and from over 30 countries in the world. On a daily basis, I'm talking to Ukraine and Russia, and from all over Ukraine I know people. It's Kiev, it's Odessa, it's Nikolaev, it's Vinnytsia, it's Kharkiv, in Kharkiv region, it's Lviv, and many other cities. And many of them are Russian-speaking Ukrainian, which saying that they want Ukraine independent from Russia, they don't want Russians there, and they're gonna fight to the death. The recent polls showed that over 90% of Ukrainians support President Zelensky and support the defense of their country. Why is that? Because they're smart people and they know if they're not gonna fight, they're gonna die. Putin gonna kill them all. That little weasel from KGB, from Russia, little Tsar, who never heard no in his life, he's gonna kill them all because he will never forgive that they stand up against him. And that's what's gonna happen to Ukrainians. That is why Ukraine have to clear all the territories from Russia. And that is why Russian people should stand up against Putin and put the end to it. I'm talking to Russian people who are against Putin and against this war. You are right. Putin is ruining your country, destroying its economy, and wanted to kill you as much as he killing Ukrainians. Because mobilized Russians dying in Ukraine by bunches, dumped by the officers, and it's all only destruction to Russia and to Ukraine. So all the people who died today and any other day because of the war in Ukraine, in Russia, in Poland, it's all Putin's fault. Here is you the target. This is Palace of Putin on the Black Sea coast. This is in my video Putin incriminated himself in corruption, which is showing you the piece of the investigation done by Alexei Navalny. This is Putin's palace. This is one of the great targets to have. So as much as you want to not escalate, the best defense from the bully like that, it's offense. It's escalation. We either have to close the sky and prevent Putin's planes flying into Ukraine, or we have to hit the Putin's palace. Let's strike where it hurts. He should be sent clear message. Enough. That's why the name of my channel is Enough. It's like the fist whacking on the table. Enough. Now. And to all of you, I send you that message. This is another gift from Navalny and his group. The list of 6,000 people of bribe takers and war mongers all over the world. That's where the sanctions have to go. I'll give the link to it. This list has to be implemented in every country in full. Now. I demand that as a Russian citizen, as a Canadian citizen. As Russian, I demand Putin have to be resigned and charged in court for corruption, treason, starting aggressive war in Ukraine, and murdering people all over the world. As Canadian citizen, I demand support from my country, Canada, to the strong action against Russia and stopping that Putin's aggression in Ukraine now. Remember this target. This is what deserves to be hit. Number one. Putin should have to be sent clear message. That's enough. Enough humping the leg of Europe. He should know his place. And his place not among the world leaders, and neither is Lavrov. As soon as Lavrov left the meeting of G20, around 100 rockets hit Ukraine. According to Mr. Podolyak, the advisor of President of Ukraine, Zelensky, there are only 4 plants in Iran who producing all those rockets and missiles or whatever, drones they given to Putin. They have to be hit as well. They need to be destroyed. If Iran choose to support the butcher of Ukraine, Putin, it have to be punished. Now. And what do you think Putin promising to Iran in exchange of the drones and of the missiles? I don't think need to think too much. Probably nuclear weapons. You want to receive another terrorist state with a grenade in hands? Keep allowing Putin visiting Iran and making deal with them. The message should be loud and clear to anyone who tried to break international law and started wars, aggressive wars. It's not gonna happen. The world gonna stay united and punish them. Enough. It's time to stop that. Stop Putin. Please help Ukraine. Thank you for your attention. And I hope it's gonna be a great day. Eventually. Thank you for your attention.